News Now is brought to you by the Bank of Guam, the People's Bank, Docomo Pacific, island-wide, worldwide, the choice is clear. And Micronesia Renewable Energy, go solar for zero money down. And Colgate Optic White, whiter teeth in 1 week. From the Pacific News Center in Hagåtña, Guam, here's Clint Ridgell and Janella Carrera, Betsy Brown, Roselle Romanes, PNC Sports with Blake Watson, and weather with Rebecca Kim. With your news now.
Off it and good evening. Today is Thursday, October the 23rd, and you're watching PNC's News Now. I'm Janella Carrera.
And I'm Clint Ridgell. Thanks for tuning in. Topping your news tonight, it was the second time that congressional hopefuls, Congresswoman Madeline Bordallo and Margaret Metcalf, faced each other in a public forum. And today, the debate got heated at times. PNC's Betsy Brown has more from today's Rotary Club of Guam meeting.
Enough already. We have a problem with compact impact reimbursement. My opponent has a problem with our Micronesian brothers and sisters.
Incumbent Madeline Bordallo accused her opponent of racism.
In August, a treaty was signed in the U.S. between the U.S. and the Federated States of Micronesia. This treaty redefined our water boundaries between Guam and the Federated States. The only party to lose any rights at this transaction was Guam and our people.
And newcomer Margaret Metcalf pointed to the Congresswoman's absence from important discussions during a debate at the Rotary Club of Guam this afternoon. The two did agree on some points. Both Bordallo and Metcalf spoke about the positive impact the buildup could have on the island's economy, but they said we need to fight to make sure the buildup is done fairly. It was the compact impact issues that set the two apart.
With health and crime problems by screening of individuals before they depart to our island, and the possibility of demanding that these islands participate in the training and orientation of our migrants. We need to seriously work on securing quotas.
I do not agree with my opponent's proposal to limit FAS citizens from coming to Guam. Putting aside that, this is an impractical solution that would find little support in Congress and would be opposed by the administration. Renegotiating the compacts on this basis would jeopardize the security relations that we have with FAS.
The general election will be held November 4th, and tomorrow is the deadline to register to vote. Betsy Brown, PNC News.
The U.S. government believes that based on GovGuam's track record, they cannot be trusted to finance the post-closure care of the ORDOT dump. Attorney Robert Mullaney with the Justice Department in his latest court filing sided with federal receivers Gershman, Brickner, and Bratton that the Guam government's financing plan filed on September 30th is not a viable option. GovGuam attorney Roland Mantanona had proposed 4 points to remove the improvement projects to Darrow Road, permanently close the Dedido transfer station, remove the Route 4 safety enhancements, and to establish a separate trust account for post-closure care of the ORDOT dump. Despite the troubled history of its operation of the ORDOT dump, Mullaney writes, GovGuam asks the court simply to trust that this time it really will set aside funds it has never managed to set aside in 61 years of operating the dump. He added that GovGuam simply has no credibility. You can read the full report online at PacificNewsCenter.com.
And the Guam Memorial Hospital is the place that possible Ebola patients will be sent, but are they ready to accept those patients? As part of preparations, GMH administrators introduced the first experienced Ebola doctor on island. PNC's Roselle Romanes has more in this report.
The Guam Memorial Hospital now has a doctor on board with experience in treating Ebola patients in Liberia. That doctor is ER Dr. Georgina Calderon. GMH Administrator Joe Verga tells us she's now in charge of preparing a response team for the hospital in case Ebola ever reaches the island.
We'll prepare the hospital to make this a safe environment for both of our patients and our staff.
Dr. Calderon tells us how it was like at the hospital she worked in when the epidemic started in Africa.
It all really comes down to preparation, and I think you just have to work with what you have. We had very little, but that also created opportunity for education, and so we did what we could.
In addition to introducing Dr. Calderon, the Guam Memorial Hospital is also educating and training their staff on Ebola as part of their annual infection control fair.
It's a good idea. It helps us be prepared with the Ebola situation if ever it comes to Guam. So I think it's really good. It's making us feel safer on the island.
With his staff being educated on Ebola and with an experienced doctor on board, Virga reassures us that everything is under control.
Of our preparation, if someone showed up at our door today, we would do our best to handle them. And for example, we have PPE, we have isolation rooms, but we want to continue to improve our preparedness. Certainly about preparedness as we move forward. But certainly, this is not something to get hysterical about, and we want to, reassure the public. There's a lot to be said for the isolation of where we are.
Rosal Romanes, PNC News.
And our beloved John Santos, the Carabao man, was laid to rest today. Known on Guam for many years as the man who walked his carabao and dogs along Marine Corps Drive nearly every day, Santos put a smile on many of our faces. His family and friends tell us what they'll miss most about him, and PNC's Janela Carrera reports.
All the sadness and upsetting things that was happening to me, it all went away when I saw John with the animals.
It's going to be hard for me because I know him the longest time, so it's going to be hard for me now.
The thing we would remember is his jokes.
He has a positive attitude all the time. Like, it's really hard to see him mad or anything. Like, he's an all-around person.
A man of simple desires. All John Santos needed in life were his pets, Lucy the Carabao, and dogs Morris and Lola. Today, John is remembered as he's laid to rest. There were too many stories to tell, but the best of them always centered on John's pets.
Tell us about the bond and the relationship he had with them.
He's very close. His life actually consists of them, really all the time.
Why do you think he loved to do this? He loved to, bring Lucy and the dogs for a walk. And
that's him.
He likes animals. He likes animals.
That's him. He wants to be energetic. And it's hard to find people that are that energetic for his age. And with them animals, those animals bring him, make him feel alive. That's why my animals are everything to me. Whenever we call them to follow us, they wouldn't move at first, but when I said, let's go, we're gonna go see Papa, they get up and we run to the house.
They know him by Papa.
For his funeral, John was commemorated with a procession from the Assen Church to Pico Cemetery. John Ray Uggan and his carabao, Doak, pulled John's casket to his final resting place as John's family and beloved pets walked behind.
Hey, did you hear that there's a championship game going on this weekend? IIAAG football, FD, GW, who you got? And in sports, it's raining men. Not really, it's actually just guys soccer, but stick around.